Chapter 7. It never even stood a chance. One month later. After another month has swallowed into the dystopian 2020 abyss, the march towards social media supremacy continues unabated. Last week you leapfrogged over Katy Perry. Today you just slid past Miley Cyrus. Both accounts took 7 years to reach their marks, while yours only took 3 months to surpass them. The woman you just eclipsed, Miley, has been outspokenly critical of law enforcement through her platform. But as far as you're aware, she's never personally ended the life of an officer, or given the orders to execute an entire precinct. Pathetic, really. And it's the little touches like this which makes all the difference when it comes to clawing your way to the top. It's a matter of commitment, you think? You've been catching a lot of bitches and slipping lately, and rankings have served them to notice. Due to resuming control of your empire with your distinct personal touch, life here on the island has stabilized after a rocky start in the days following the evacuation. A few deft political maneuvers have brought stability to your stolen summer colony, but the same can't be said for the rest of the nation, and at this point, many parts of the world as well. The U.S. is becoming increasingly fractured due to many localized Jubilite insurrections, and a great number of police stations across the nation have fallen. Certain regions of America, which now represent unpoliced, demilitarized pockets of Jubilite control territory, have gotten so large, Ring Free has categorized these parts of the map as Jubilite counties. That is, entire counties in the U.S. where the majority of all police stations have been commandeered, and the number of counties which qualify has been making everyone in the government extremely nervous. Nevertheless, have begun listening to certain demands you've been making for weeks. In recent days, hostilities in the country have finally started cooling off. This is because of negotiations you have just completed, which resulted in a treaty between the Jubilite movement and the U.S. government. The treaty grants formal recognition of the island of Nantucket as a sovereign nation, totally independent from the United States, which is now called New Whimsicay. The mainland agrees to keep the power running and all naval blockades lifted so it can continue supplying the island with needed resources. In exchange, you've agreed to a non-aggression pact with the U.S. and have publicly called for a nationwide cessation of hostilities from your Jubilite militias. No more capturing police stations, no more expansion of Jubilite County territory. For now. Your movement has been seeping into the fabric of global politics as well. Certain nations have started showing signs of instability, as insurrections dominated by clowned-up faces have swelled up to enormous sizes around the world. While such volatility is stalled in the U.S. due to your treaty, it's only picking up steam in other nations. You've begun to lose track of what's happening where, since there's so much to observe all at once, and you've had your hands full with domestic matters. But what hasn't gone unnoticed to you is the broader cultural phenomenon it's become in such a short period of time. Many celebrities are outwardly identifying as Jubilites now, both feeling emboldened by the political strength of the movement and enticed by the fashionable statement it's become to clown up in solidarity with the rebellious spirit of your manifesto. Most of these people you could hardly give a fuck about, but you're flattered anyways. However, you were floored when you heard Post Malone himself was hoping to get into your tent. He even got himself some new clownish face tattoos to mark his newfound dedication to your cause. You had no idea if he found out what a huge fan of his you are, but you think you'd die of embarrassment if he knew. Sometimes if you wonder if Abby sent him a sneaky message behind your back to lure him into the fold. You'd fuck her up if you found out she did that. Speaking of which, it seems Abby managed to use her newfound celebrity influence to climb the ladder to her own phase. She's now in contact with their leader, Namjoon, which she seems incapable of going more than 15 minutes without mentioning. And when you start getting a wind of a decidedly familiar-sounding movement picking up steam in South Korea with everybody's 7 favorite boys at the helm, you naturally assume Abby used her wiles to convert them to your cause. But to your surprise, Abby didn't have much to do strong-arming at all. Turns out you already had much more in common than you'd thought. Apparently the boy band was curious about what all the commotion in America was really about, and Abby was more than happy to cut through the media play and walk them through it. She befriended Namjoon, and after many extensive dialectics about justice and the perils of capitalism, it seems the boys were inspired to start a revolution on their own terms. According to what you're hearing on the news, they've already managed to take over their entire entertainment studio, completely ousting the previous ownership. In the new position of political leverage, they're galvanizing the people of their own nation to stand up for positive social change. They seem to have an inordinately principled aversion to murder, which leaves you a bit pessimistic about the ultimate efficacy of their methods, but you'll let them play the game they want, for now. Indeed, it appears as if a global movement is forming in the wake of the Jubilite uprising. Like in South Korea, parallel movements are cropping up across the world. Some of these insurrections are being waged explicitly in your name, while some are undoubtedly the unique product of the political condition of those particular regions. But whatever banner they fly, the people of the world are rising in a tide. Meanwhile, it's finally time for another formal debriefing. It's been a full month since your last one where you dedicated control of advanced practice to the rising star in the organization, Jocelyn. Well, you haven't been to a briefing since you didn't want to make a habit of those meetings. Too much ass-kissing, too much micromanagement of stuff you can't be bothered with. And you've been way too busy with high-stakes diplomacy anyways. You've just allowed her to slack to develop these projects on her own while you keep a close eye on her. It looks like she's made the most of that slack. The roster of Ring appears to have dramatically expanded under Jocelyn's administration. A whole lot of new clown faces here. But that's not too surprising. If there's one thing you've learned to never be surprised by, it's by the unrelenting accrual of new clowns. More clowns than you could possibly ever know what to do with. Z, what a pleasure it is to see you make an appearance at our headquarters. It's been too long since I've had the honor of briefing you in person. And may I just say, the diplomatic work you've been doing has been remarkable, Z. Thanks, but you should really be referring to me as Supreme Honkifax. Oh, yes, I am so sorry. A slip of the tongue. It will never happen again. Now, how may I lead you inside so we can begin with the briefing? My advanced practice decision has been making some incredible strides lately. No, let's stay outside. Could use the fresh air. Just follow me and say whatever you want to say. First, may I say it even appears that I condescend to describe the tenets of advanced praxis to their offer. It is only for the purpose of fully elaborating on them for a wider audience, such as this gallery of rogues here. Who knows how well-read these chucklefucks are on the Jubilite theory, am I right? I kid, of course, we're all friends here, and we like to joke around. That's so good about this movement, don't you think? We keep things light and humorous, while other ideologies just get so stuffy and self-important. Haha, not us, so. Right, just wanted to make it clear that any, over-explaining I may do is simply for the sake of providing a well-rounded presentation to all, yes. That said, let's take it from the top. Advanced praxis. The more elite ranks of the Jubilite movement have already been introduced to these teachings. It's still being kept to the masses, at your discretion, of course, so let's not alert our tangents to, our targets to our methods too blatantly. Sorry, slipped. But there will come a time when these ideas will permeate the global Jubilite movement to maximize their effects. Soon, I imagine. When it is clear the world that there is no turning back, and I would hazard that the recent work you have done securing the sovereignty of New Whimsifay puts us closer to that moment than ever. So, what is it that we are doing? The core of these principles is quite simple. It relies on the premise that in order to destroy the evil systems of overwhelming power, there is no tactic whatsoever that should be off the table. Everything the bastards are capable of doing to advance their goals, we are capable of doing too, and we must. So if the rich and powerful use their staggering wealth to entrench themselves in positions of supremacy, then we are also to accumulate similar amounts of wealth, which we have thanks to your brilliance. This means it isn't merely a good idea to use those levers to attack their power, it means we are obligated to use them. It is in fact the only way to defeat them. To abide to more honorable practices would be cede advantages to them which are counterproductive to us and wholly undeserved to them. And so empowered thusly by your supreme honk effects, about a month ago I went about working with various channels of the most resourceful Jubilites I could find, not to mention the ones with the least scruples about getting their hands dirty. Good people, really. A dutiful ensemble of particularly salty clowns who just want to make the biggest difference possible, like me. So let's begin with an example of how one might use such levers. It's well known among upper echelons of our organization that Secretary Applepie herself targeted her own parents in a bold initial implementation of Praxis. But the success of that approach, while phenomenally instrumental in jump-starting this movement, fell far short of total success. They managed to secure most of their assets. So, what other options exist? Well, one of the most direct tactics spelled out by the Supreme Honk Effects is to apply assets towards legitimate acquisitions. A relatively small financial firm handles all their money, and once you have billions of dollars in the bank, the question becomes, can't you just outright buy certain companies, take control of them, and begin to manipulate them to your advantage? Why not? Billionaires and corporations everywhere do this all the time. Buy out competition or purchase smaller, inconvenient companies, simply to strip or destroy them, or absorb smaller companies into bigger ones, after retrofitting them to suit a new purpose. This can work, and we have had success with that approach in a few cases. The problem is, it's a bit slow, and very much involves operating within the legal boundaries of a complex system in order to inflict damage on said system. There are much faster ways, and that's when things get more fun. As our Supreme Honk Effects rightly points out, why bother going to the expense of purchasing a company when you can simply compromise many of the people who are already running it? It's so much faster that way, and it cuts through a lot of red tape. Many of the people working in these financial firms are a bunch of spineless nuts who, while used to handling the amount of money we're talking about, are not used to actually being paid that much. It makes them highly susceptible to bribery, while their spinelessness makes them susceptible to acts of intimidation and coercion. And if you run into some guys who are afraid of the law, that's where the good exit package can help. Just dangle a few million in front of a greedy coward along with some plane tickets to somewhere in South America, some new identity papers, whatever it takes, and then you have someone who is suddenly very cooperative in helping you move a few billion assets in around. So sometimes even all that isn't quite enough to get results. Sometimes you have a couple of really tough customers who've been fleeced already, and they're already locked everything down, such as the secretary's parents, for instance. With hard targets like that, there are certain tactics of last resort which can help move things along, if you catch my meaning. That isn't your call to make. Oh, yes, I know that. I wouldn't even dream of greenlighting such a play without your express approval first. I'm just saying, it's always on the table for any of these depraved capital hoardic vultures. Not just your parents, I was just using them as a convenient example. So why don't you tell me what's actually being done instead of explaining all my shit back to me? Absolutely. I'll waste no more of your time, Supreme Honk Effects. We can all see you must attend to geopolitical concerns of a higher magnitude than my modest little accounting report, so I should cut straight to the chase. Jesus. First, I should mention that I've been dividing acquisitions over the last month into two columns: hard assets and soft assets. Assets, of course, are anything of value: cash, stocks, bonds, deeds, property, equity of any sort. Hard assets are now under direct control of the Jubilite organization, such as money in our bank accounts or property owned by one of our members, and offered up to the organization. The total hard assets are now valued at over $200 billion. Damn. Right? Not bad for a month of advanced pranksters. Tireless, round-the-clock pranksters by yours truly, mind you. But still a nice haul if I say so myself. But it gets better. Soft assets I have defined as those not technically in our possession. These are assets still controlled by outsiders who happen to be seriously compromised by us in some way. This means that in the event it becomes necessary, there's a high likelihood the assets could be transferred over to us. Naturally, it's hard to get a concrete tally of these resources, but my estimates of us, our global soft estimates are about 1.5 trillion. That's a lot of fucking money. It sure is. It turns out it's a lot easier to move this kind of money around than you think, as there's barely any real footprint to our movement. If we want to quietly transfer stock from hedge fund into our portfolio, it's just assigned to one of our members rather than a formal Jubil identity that's easily traced. We're also counting occupied property as hard assets. That is, any empty house that built it, our forces have seized, and which authorized authorities have deemed too difficult to reclaim. For instance, we have well-armed Jubilites stationed in thousands of empty summer homes in Martha's Vineyard alone. That is, billions of dollars worth of property, not even to speak of the property value of the entire island on which we stand. Such seizures have been taking place almost everywhere in the world. I must say, make accounting estimates difficult. However, I believe you will find my raw figures to be quite reliable. And all these people you compromised, to account for the trillion stocks and soft assets. Where are these people? Everywhere! I began arguing the most obvious pressure points of the American economy, the big investment firms, banks, and such. But the more I began delegating the generalized principles of advanced pranksters through my networks, the more our people began to improvise and target many more entities. There are thousands of Jubilites operatives working on this. They're squeezing big marks in all the big companies. Amazon, Exxon, Facebook, a lot of people in Facebook actually, including Zuckerberg himself, which I don't mind stating with a certain amount of pride. Huh? Really? Just be Supreme Honk Effects. We've got this guy by the balls. Nice. Sounds like that should come in handy. Oh, believe me, it already has. It turns out compromising the human resource infrastructure of just about any major corporation yields a wider range of benefits than just increasing the financial fluidity of a movement. Pulling the strings on a social media giant controls narratives more easily. On an energy giant, influences global geopolitics to your advantage. An entertainment giant? Oh, you can change a lot of hearts and minds that way, can't you? Unless... What are you getting at there? I've been quite pleased to see Secretary Aberhart herself taking up the cause of advanced pranksters, totally unprompted and uninstructed, also without including me in the loop, or coordinating with my networks in any way. Are you talking about Abby's K-pop shit? Yes, her excellent work with that Korean group, which is remarkably popular. Somehow, by utilizing the world-renowned status she has achieved through your visionary work, she has convinced the band members to engage in pranksters and commandeer the entertainment company they are under contract with. Yeah, I know about this. The company has made about $500 million in revenue last year, and yet, due to the way Secretary has gone about this, she's not only compromised them in a way that will allow our organization to siphon away that revenue away from the company. That's why it's so important for those engaging in advanced pranksters to stay connected with my network, to make sure we benefit from each operation. I understand that this was a pet project of her because she admires these particular musicians. Yeah, I thought she was just fucking around. I mean, maybe she got them to actually do it. As am I. Nothing but respect for my secretary. I don't think she compromised them, though. I think they're just doing their own thing. Like, taking control of their own shit and vibing with some of the same anti-imperialist stuff we do. I think Abby's just having fun helping them out, is all. And there is surely no harm in having a bit of fun doing all this. That's what Pranksters is about, right? But I'd also wonder of what exact utilities of establishing such high-profile contacts with no intention of exploiting them. Abby would never let us do that. Precisely, which is why I can't help but feel... What? Well, considering her rank and the influence she holds and the example she could be setting, I just can't help but feel as much as I love everything she has contributed to our movement that perhaps someone more could be occupying her position a bit more who possibly contributes a little more to the movement? Tangibly, I mean, in terms of improving the bottom line, someone who helps bring a strong financial revenue on all of these advanced praxis efforts. You know. Well, yeah, I mean, you aren't wrong. The type of person you described would be objectively be a better fit for the number 2 spot. Can't even argue with that. Everything you just said honestly sounds like fucking incredible. Real sensational work. In a month, you got more money coming in than I thought we'd get in, like, years. I guess that's what makes this such a shame. What's a shame? Traitors get bullets. Later. So I guess you must have heard about what happened today. Happy? Bitch, I'm trying to have a conversation with a normal person. Incredibly, having to spend all day with a bunch of weird ass-kissing clowns makes me feel like I'm losing my mind. Yeah, sorry, I'm just in the middle of an important conversation. Is that your K-pop boy? Yes. How's it going with him? Very good. It still feels surreal speaking terms with one of my idols, though. Guess I can relate. I mean, to him, not to you. Lol. Feels like somebody tells me something like that every day now. I guess cults of personality is a powerful thing. It sucks, actually, but yeah. So you hatching more schemes over there with what's-his-face, the leader boy? Him, June? Yeah. Well, I think at this point you're just forgetting their names on purpose. Maybe you should cut it out. Didn't you used to hate it when people got your name wrong? Well, yeah, I did until they changed my name and it stopped mattering. Maybe they should pick cool new names for themselves like me. They did! When BTS was just starting out, June called himself Rap Monster. Oh, Jesus Christ, well never mind then. They got him to hijack his shitty record label. What's next? More Praxis? Yeah, we're talking about a few options. It's crazy the amount of influence they have over what could happen in their country. Probably more than you have here. Oh yeah, clearly. I'm just an American idiot or a cult figure or something. But enemy number 1 to the state. Those guys are so benign. Way too much cuck energy to be threatening to anyone. But I'm glad to see you're helping them fuck things up. I'm not really trying to fuck anything up though. I'm just happy to see them taking full control of their destiny as an artist. And I'm barely even doing anything for them. It's just all they're doing, really. What about you? Haven't you made inroads with people you admire? I saw that Post Malone is a Jubilate now. It sure seems that way. Got some new clown tabs and everything. Fucking wild. So why don't you reach out? I can't. I just embarrass myself with fangirl out if I talk to him and I blow my whole mystique. Besides, I don't think I could in good conscience drag Post deeper into this mess. Probably destroy the poor guy's life. I'm not saying go mess with him or anything. I bet he would like to hear from you. I know this is insane and very serious business all the time, but I still think you should try and get in the original spirit of when you can, try to have fun. Fun, yeah, right. How can I think about fun? Do you know what I had to do today? Yes, you already tried to ask me, and I was just trying to keep my mind occupied so I don't have to dwell on that stuff. I'm sure you have good reasons for dealing with Jocelyn that way. You're trying to keep us all alive here, and that probably means making tough decisions. But anything like that with violence stuff, it really triggers me having to think about it. So I have to figure out ways to keep myself sane. I know, I don't mean to push it in your face. I never even told you about her because I didn't want to upset you. Told me what? About a month ago, I figured out she was one of the girls who terrorized me after a breakdown a few years ago. Somehow she climbed the ladder as an undercover clown. Oh jeez, that is really scary. I don't even think she had a problem with me after all this time. I doubt she even believed in anything. She never actually cared about my original problematic shit I got canceled for. She just enjoyed using it as an excuse to trash me. And then she saw a chance to get involved with something cool and make herself important and took it. Wouldn't be surprised if her long game was gunning for my spot, not just yours. I didn't tell anyone. I knew, so I could just keep a close eye on her. At least it's over. Yeah, but I have to be more careful. What a fucking train wreck all this is. Anyone could be anyone. Really cool of me to build an organization which by definition lets your membership conceal who you are. I just need a tighter ring, that's all. I got too sloppy. I'm sure you'll figure it out. We've really painted ourselves into a corner here. There's so much danger we can't really reverse course, so hope you don't mind if I sink myself into these distractions. Yeah, that's fine. We just vibing tonight. Here, want some? Oh no, I'm good with the wine. You must be really tapping into the tricks by now. How much was that bottle? A couple $100, I think? Ugh, ew. Oh, that is some nasty shit. You might as well go out to the barn and top your glass out for days half of a stick. Oh, it's fine. Anyway, since when did you start blazing it? Since like 1 billion tons of weed started getting smuggled onto the island. Seems like a lot of land is getting adapted to weed farming now. That's cool. That's cool, I guess. New Limits of Fate does need an economy, after all. Seems like a good export model. Did you order people to do that? No. A lot of shit just sorta happens now. I barely have to do anything operational except preside over the occasional clown execution. Yeah, let's hope that duty stays very occasional. I don't know. My hater list is pretty long by now. Oh, please tell me you're joking. About doing more executions? Yeah, I was joking. But about the list, it's an actual thing I thought about, I thought you knew about it. Yeah, I know. I was hoping you'd just stop keeping up with it at some point. Are you still actually maintaining it? Well, damn it, see? There are so many fucking people out to get us. Really bad people. It's not even just old shitty haters like Joculin anymore. I'm tracking nasty government and media people too. Bunch of corporate types. Awful guys, Yeah, I get it. They're all terrible. I think hitting this stuff is just really unhealthy for you. Like, psychologically, it makes me really paranoid, and I'm worried that What? I just don't want to see you spiral into that dark place that got you started on all this over again. I'll be fine. I know how to complain about shit, but I feel much better than I ever did. Everything has a purpose now. I don't need to struggle with my direction in life for what I'm trying to accomplish. That's great and all, and I know you're smarter than me, so sometimes I feel crazy pointing out stuff that sounds really, basic, but all of these list of people you keep Isn't that the kind of thing dictators do? Like, keep track of all the people they don't like who are expendable? That's pretty melodramatic take. I'm not planning a mass purge of haters and antis if that's what you're asking. It's only because most of these fucking maggots aren't even worth the energy. Alright, if you say so, but I hope you don't mind if I just keep pulling back from all this in any way I can. I'll always be here for you, of course, but I've been considering just deactivating my social media account soon. Are you sure about that? No, it's just something I'm thinking about. To get a little more distance from everything and keep myself sane. People see it as formal resignation from your position in the chain of command, though. Someone else would need to fill the void, and you're the only person I trust. I know that. I'm wrestling with it. I really want to keep supporting you. It's just I haven't decided what to do yet. Alright, then. I'm gonna go piss while you think about it. Give K-pop Monster my regards. Well, Abby talks to her new friend, who once named himself after a monster. You stare in the mirror at her old friend, who may be in the process of turning herself into one. So much crazy stuff is happening constantly. It can be easy to start feeling numb to it. But maybe it's a good idea to reflect on certain surreal truths now and then. Like how it feels pretty messed up when your chill wine buddy has to sincerely offer cautionary remarks about turning into Joseph Stalin. That's ridiculous, of course. Yes, many revolutionaries after tasting success would hear the siren song of mass murder, but you know in your heart you are different. You've never been more sure that you're doing this for all the right reasons, and anyone who's tried to convince you otherwise would probably regret it. An urgent news article is blowing up on your phone. Never ever blow this up on your phone unless it's highly relevant to your movement. The fans and key members of your organization are always the first to push the stories hard, and it always makes me nervous when it happens. Big stories feel like they rarely contain good news for you. And this one is certainly no exception. The reports saying Abby's parents' mansion has just exploded. Both are presumed dead, but there is no official confirmation of their deaths. But you don't need confirmation. You know they're dead. Your people did this. There is no other explanation, and they wouldn't have done it if they weren't sure the targets were inside at the time. You feel sick. This is Chocolate. It had to be her. The bitch greenlight those orders behind your back before she died. When she floated the idea to you, it wasn't a hypothetical. The orders were already out. Fuck! You're afraid to go back and talk to Abby. You have no idea how you can break this to her. In fact, you probably don't even need to. She must have seen it on her phone already. What do you say? How can you explain this? You tiptoe out of the bathroom. You take impossibly tiny footsteps back to the living room. Maybe if you walk slowly enough, you'll simply never arrive. Hey, I'm sorry. I'll be okay. Part of me always sensed this day might come. It wasn't supposed to, though. It was Joculin. She mentioned something about it, but I had no idea she already put this in motion without telling me, and I guess I killed her before she had a chance to reverse the order. It's my fault. No, it's fine. I went along with it at the beginning and just kept going. I could have stopped at any time, but I enjoyed it as much as you did. I finally felt like I was reclaiming part of my soul by ripping them off. That part of me that benefited from all their money at the expense of others. I thought if we could use their money to make a difference, it would make me feel better. But it went too far. All of this did. They weren't good people, though. I know they weren't. It wasn't their fault, though. They just made too much money and spent too many times with the wrong people. Listened to too much bullshit. And they were family. I didn't want this. Personally speaking, I know this feels really heavy right now, but you get used to being free of your bad parents. I'm sure it'll feel liberating after you let some time go by. See, I don't think that's a nice thing to say right now, but I'm too sad to be mad about it. I have to deactivate my accounts. I'm sure you'll be able to find someone who isn't a backstabber to help you. I'll still follow you all the way because I love you, but there are certain things I can't do anymore. The feeling of heartbreak leaves a void. Rage fills it quickly as usual. At first it's anger at yourself. You knew Jocelyn was a traitor, but you strung her along for an entire month, letting her play her games while you were biding your time, waiting for the right moment to put her down. If only you hadn't been so lenient. You could have pulled the trigger weeks earlier before she had the chance to get carried away, or you could have just shot her the day you found out about her treachery. But why should you be angry at yourself? She was the one who killed Abby's parents, and she was the one who cancelled you. Beating yourself up for your leniency is just playing into the hands of people like this. He's letting them win. No, she's the one who deserves all your rage, like everyone like her deserves your rage, and maybe even more than just that. Maybe they all deserve what Jocelyn had coming as well. But you can't start thinking like that way. You remember what Abby was telling you about your hater list, about what that could lead to. You've already hurt her so much. You can't let yourself put her through that much more grief than she's already endured. You don't know how you'll be able to live with yourself if you destroyed her. You're exhausted. You tell yourself the same thing you've been telling yourself most nights when trying to get sleep. Well, these problems will probably seem less insane and unsolvable in the morning. You're never right, obviously. But you like to tell yourself them anyway, like a comforting lullaby. Riotous. Yes. Don't go. We need to talk. Where would I go? As long as you feel driven to survive, I'll always be with you. I mean, don't fuck off suddenly. I need more answers. No, I need help. I'm only unavailable till the moment you wake up. Your time with me is only fleeting if you waste it. I need to know if you're real, or am I just losing it? If I were a figment of your imagination, couldn't I just answer yes, I am real? Your subconscious could insist on my reality through this lie, continuing to trick you. And if I were real, couldn't I simply lie about that as well, to plant seeds of doubt in your head about the origin of the ideas of which you are sharing with the world? This just sounds like a fancy bullshit way of saying maybe I can't trust anything you say. But perhaps you can't. Didn't you already know that? Why are you asking to confirm something to you when you know the mere act of confirmation could be part of a deception? Wouldn't it be better to assume I'm real and ask these important questions you have? Then, after I answer, you're free to wake up and decide what value those answers have when making your next decisions. Okay, then last time you were popping off about your, insane psychic imperialism. I was? Yes, that's what you were hinting at. Then what's your question? I don't even know yet. I guess I'm just trying to confirm that's what's going on here, based on the presumption you're real. As I just explained, I cannot even confirm I am real, let alone confirm what you just asked. But I can continue doing as I've done, which is to speak of certain possibilities. Like what? such as the possibility that I was not even the first Jubilite, as your manifesto describes. Are you saying you aren't? I'm saying you should consider the possibility that I'm not. Consider that I was once a member of a race of people on a far-off planet which was not called Whimsicott, and who had never heard of the Jubilites, or even had any particular affinity for clown. And what the fuck? Also consider that I was visited in my dreams by a being that was self-described as the first Jubilite from a planet called Whimsicott, and she told me everything I have told you. Eventually, she began telling me to consider even deeper truths about her reality. She began asking me to consider that she was not the first either, and then came the promises. Promises? She began to promise glory, infamy, immortality. She promised a transcendence of the physical form of attachment to my original planet and culture. She promised even that I would rise above everything I accomplished with the conquest of my own world. She told me there that there was so much more to discover, if only I persevered and achieved absolute victory. Are you telling me that's what's in store for me if I, win? I'm not telling you anything. I'm just asking you to consider it, just as she was. Okay, I think I get the game you're playing. The, weird Vubero rules it has for some fucking reason. Whatever, I can play along. You already have been. As I've said before, you've been doing very well. So when she told you that stuff, hypothetically, what did you do? I continued doing what I was already doing, because regardless of where the ideas originated, I believed what I was doing for my world was right. But I continued with additional vigor, because it was then that I believed I was becoming a crucial part of something which had great cosmic significance. It seemed to me that I was assuming a place of lineage and of an unfathomably consequential figures, which spin millions and billions of stars. I guess that's sort of a motivation, sure. It doesn't sound like the type of idea which motivates you, though. I don't know, it's a fucking lot. That's a perfectly reasonable stance. It is why my predecessor felt it was important to leave the truth of herself speculative, and why I am doing so with you as well. Because there is no motivation which can truly substitute the feeling of conviction that what you are doing is right. In that sense, it must come from within you, not from fairy tales of space and infamy. Well, I do think what I'm doing is right, but I also... It's really hard, and it's fucking up my friendship and making me fucking sad all the time. I didn't say it was easy. In fact, I'm telling you the opposite, just as my predecessor told me. But it sounds like she lit a fire under your ass all the same. When she told you all the stuff you didn't say you did it with, extra vigor? Yes, what does that even mean? It means I was brutal. Is that not what you wanted to hear? It sounds fucked up. It sounds like what I'm already worried about and what Abby really worries about. I don't think I can hurt her anymore. I remember what it was like to have mortal concerns like these. I feel nothing but sympathy for what you're experiencing, but these are small matters compared to the grand scale we are discussing, you must understand. It sounds like you're trying to convince me of being more hardcore about it. But trust me, dude, I'm already there. You really aren't. Man, I mean, fucking listen. I just shot a girl today and she killed Abby's parents, and I am not to lecture you. I am actually paying you a compliment. You have come so much further than I did in such a shorter period of time. How long did it take you? It took me many years to crush all forces of opposition on my planet. The lives lost are countless. You have spent only months pursuing your mission, and yet, incredibly, you are on the precipice of total victory. I am. The fact that success is so nearly within your grasp may not be obvious to you, but it's very clear to me. So, if what I'm hearing is right, you've been coming into my dreams basically to finally tell me how much better at this I am than you. That is not inaccurate. But it is also foolish to be overconfident, and even more foolish to assume the level of brutality you've already inflicted will be remotely sufficient for completing your mission. Withdrawing now from your instincts for survival and the violence that flows from it would be a great mistake, naturally. I don't know if I really... Abby thinks I should just delete these lists. She's not the supreme hunk effects. You are. I know. There are so many who oppose me, too. Their methods and motivations are always the same. Ridicule, jealousy, conniving, greed, lust for your power. They will all try to kill you eventually, I promise. So I should, you remember why you wrote your list originally, don't you? Yeah. Don't you remember what they did to deserve it? There is nothing else for me to say, because you already know this as well as I. The moment you wrote down their names, they were already dead. You wake up, and it's still nighttime. How long were you out? It couldn't have been more than a few hours. Dream was the most intense thing you've ever had. So intense you're bleeding somehow. And you've been gripping your phone so tight, and your hand hurts. What the... It appears your entire hater list has been copied into a text message addressed to the third ring. Did you do this in your sleep? They've responded with understandable confusion. They're wondering what the purpose of the list is, and what you want them to do. But you know, there's only one possible reason you would have dropped this list here, unconsciously or otherwise. Understanding the correct moral choice is rarely that hard. You usually have more than enough available information to decide. A good friend who loves you, a girl who's done everything in her power to keep you from going astray, and offered as credit was her heart, which would shatter if fell too far. But there were other factors to consider. Factors which all good sense in the hearts of our loved ones have rarely been able to compete with. There's the factor of inevitability. Your vision was inevitable. The sledgehammer it's taken to the capitalist order of this planet was inevitable. And what is perhaps also inevitable is your wrath. As Ride is rightly pointed out, these people brought this upon themselves. The moment they spoke your name with a sense of spite, they should have known they were speaking a suicidal curse, inviting this inevitability into their lives someday. Inevitability is defined by the forces which try to stop it. Its strength is measured by everything that gets in its way only to be crushed. The power of a nation, the heart of a friend, and even the conscience of the host, or that is to say, the vessel meant to deliver the unstoppable. Your conscience can make you bleed through the nose and turn your knuckles white to put up a fight against the inevitable. But just like every single one of those miserable fucking rats, it never even stood a chance. End of Chapter 7. Interlude 4. You'll love to see it. Finally taking off the gloves. I mean, makes it more real now. It's not like a game anymore. Of course, it never was a game to begin with. It's always been serious shit. But the way some of these chuckle fucks like to run their mouths, you might never know it. Where did they think this was going to lead? Did they not understand that talking shit has consequences? That the Supreme Honkifix is not a woman with whom these sewer rats should trifle? Oh well, problem solved. That's the thing about having loud, shitty opinions online. Once you stop existing, your bad opinions stop mattering. Foul. Like somebody once said, when there's a person, there's a problem. When there's no person, there's no problem. So it stands to reason when whole lots of people disappear, a whole lot of problems go away, right? You fucking bet. Okay, should we do the fake choice thing again? It's what you've come to expect from me after all. And just like you, I hate letting my fans down. Almost as much as I hate letting my aunties off the hook. So what are the possibilities at this juncture? Not that it fucking matters, because, I'm just gonna lock the thing again, but let's just agree to humor each other one more time. Wait, on second thought, call off the hater purge. Just order like a weak bitch. Boo-hoo, innocent people will die. Just forget you ever dreamt you were any sort of hard ass and go back to crying to mommy in her grave like a scared little piss baby. I'm sure the world will understand. Or you could embrace your destiny, realize that, like so many other great conquerors before you, that this is simply what it takes. Spare these worms not a single precious thought beyond the moment you gave that order. Yeah, we all know the drill now. Meaningful choices in this story can only be unlocked by a true successor, and that's still not you. Not quite yet. You're so damn close, though. It's like Riotous was just saying. You're really speedrunning this shit. Running so fast, it almost seems like you're outrunning your own ability to stop, think, and make real decisions. Maybe once you figure out how to do that, it'll finally click. The missing pieces will fall into place, and that successor status, which you've fallen just short of for so long, it'll finally be yours, won't it? Well, I just gave the whole fucking thing away, didn't I? Well, now, whatever. See you again soon, Jen.